Srimatre Namasivaya. Welcome to my channel. I'm starting this tutorial series on Lalitha Sahasranamam chanting and recitation. I know many of you are interested in learning this but don't know how to begin, where to start and how to chant it correctly. So keeping people across the world in mind, I wanted to create a space where no matter where you are can learn this stotram the right way and truly benefit from it. So before we get started, let me give you all a little bit introduction into this great stotra. Lalitha Sahasranamam stotra is not a casual recitation, nor it's even a simple stotra. This actually comes from a very sacred sampradāya that is led by Lord Dakshinamurti himself. Okay, it is part of the Brahma Purana and it has been written by Jaganmata herself in the form of Pasinyadi Vagdevatas. For a very long time, this stotram was kept secret because this is not just a stotram, this is actually Brahma Vidya. Jaganmata herself has initiated Lord Hayagriva, an avatar of Vishnu, into this stotra, and later Lord Hayagriva initiated Sage Agastya into this stotra, and that's how it came into the world for all of us. So when we chant Lalitha Sahasranamam, we must understand what we are holding, and this is the most powerful and the potential stotra, and it ultimately guides us toward Parabrahma Tattva. Alright, so that's why we should not take this lightly at all. And if you are ready to approach this with discipline, respect and Shraddha, then this journey will be very powerful to you. If not, take your time, prepare yourself and then come back to it. Alright, so the next question is, what constitutes readiness to start reciting Lalitha Sahasranamam stotra? So before we get started, let me go over some guidelines and discipline that we all have to follow while learning and also chanting. Okay, so to preserve its sanctity, both physical and mental cleanliness are essential. However, mental purity is definitely a challenge and it may take a lot of time, and Jaganmata, she completely understands that. However, physical discipline is non-negotiable. So there is no compromise and there should not be. So let me cover some aspects of what I'm actually talking about. One is cleanliness or shuddhi. Okay, you have to make sure that you're always chanting this after you take bath. When you came back from work or other aspects, then it's better that you are actually very clean and at least you have taken bath before you start chanting. And what you can do before chanting is you can clean that particular place. Just find like a corner or somewhere where you're not disturbed, some place in your house where you're not disturbed and it's pretty clean, and light a small diya if possible and a small agarbatti, and then offer some naivedyam to Amavaru. She's gudha, she loves gudha. Gudha is jaggery, so you can simply offer a small jaggery piece or even you can offer a fruit also, that is fine. But make sure you have the sthala shuddhi. Okay, sthala shuddhi means the place where you are sitting, it is actually clean and neat. Okay, and then the next thing is dress code. Now, man, this is extremely important and I really want you all to focus and understand what I'm really talking about here. You have to wear traditional and clean clothing. Okay, very unfortunately these days, a lot of the people even who are coming to the temples, they are really not maintaining any kind of decency. I'm sorry to say this, but women, I don't know what is wrong with them. They come to temples with sleeveless blouses, revealing clothing, tight t-shirts, tight jeans, tight pants. Those kind of things, please don't wear. If you cannot give up those things, please don't start this. It's that simple. Okay, so appearance has to be extremely dignified, and it should really reflect the reverence and not convenience. Okay, so please wear some traditional and very nice clothing. It's not like you have to wear sari all the time, but something that completely covers, and it is like it gives that respect and dignity. Yeah. And then hair discipline. Now, this is another thing, guys. I'm sorry that I'm emphasizing on all these things. Unfortunately, even I never thought that I will have to say, or we have to actually even discuss about these things. But what I'm seeing lately is completely beyond my comprehension. What a lot of people they do, the way they come to the temples, women, they leave their hair loose. They come to temples as if they're going to some kind of a party or a pub or somewhere else. No, you don't come to temples like that. It's not a discotheque area. Okay. So you have to tie your hair very neatly. Yes, loose hair is not permitted. As a matter of fact, I don't know how many of you know, but going to temples or even doing puja with loose hair is the greatest sin. It is a sin. That's it. It is a basic aspect of traditional discipline, and I don't know how people are honestly missing that point. So please don't go to temples in a very indecent way, and also please don't recite such powerful stotras in such indecent way. Now, this is another aspect. Married women, they stop wearing Mangal Sutras. They don't wear Mangal Sutras. They don't apply bindi or haldi, nothing, everything is gone. I mean, I can understand working women if you go to office, especially women who are living abroad, non-Indian countries, when they are living, it's a little bit difficult, which I completely agree and understand. But once you are back home, even I live in United States, and I've been living in United States for close to, I would say, 2.5 decades. And but when you come back home, I never remove my Mangal Sutra. That's completely big no for me. So wear Mangal Sutra all the time. Ammavaru, she is a Sumangali, and she expects whoever are reciting Lalitha Sahasranamam are also in that particular mode. Now, I'm really not talking about people who don't have husbands, and Ammavaru understands that. I'm not talking, they can do what, in the way that is convenient to them. But for married women with husbands who are alive, husbands who are alive, please don't skip or don't avoid wearing Mangal Sutras. It is extremely important. Have some respect. Okay, and the other most important thing is applying turmeric to the feet. Yes, I don't know if this is a tradition that is followed in North India or not, I don't know, but in South India, this is a very famous tradition, and turmeric has to be applied to the feet, to both feet. Whenever you are doing any puja of goddess, Jagannatha puja, haldi is a must. Okay. Now, how should you apply haldi? Now, a lot of people will have questions. Oh, we can't do that. We have to go to work and all. That's fine. Even I work. I even travel across the globe. It's not a problem. Once you come back home, happily take shower, wash your feet very thoroughly, take shower, and then come back and you can apply haldi and you can start reciting, you can start chanting. Or during weekends, whenever you have the time to do all these things, you better start chanting or reciting or practicing or learning during those times. Okay, so these are some of the basic etiquette, I would say. And you can sit in Sukhasana, but whatever is comfortable to you, but don't lie down. Don't chant while you are lying on the bed. You should never chant any stotra on the bed. No mantra, no stotra should be chanted on the beds. Okay. Now, don't multitask when you're doing this. Don't focus here and there, and then you're not. Don't do that. Don't confuse your mind. Already, mind is always in a confused state, and mind has like this. Mind can go in multiple ways, right? So don't do that. Try to keep mind focused as much as possible. Mental discipline is extremely important. Chant with awareness and seriousness. And don't just chant mechanically just for the sake of it, and bring the sound. Ammavaru is Nadapriya, so bring the sound when you are chanting. Now, whatever I said, especially around the dress code, tying the hair, wearing the Mangal Sutras and all, some of you may have arguments around dress and appearance, especially the sleeveless blouses and all those things. I don't care. And I'm not getting into those debates. Seriously, I'll be straight up with you guys. I'm not even interested in those debates. To me, anybody who argues that, oh, bhakti is more important, we don't have to care about all those things, well, no, that's not true. Because if bhakti was more important and if you were really that, you have really reached that level of bhakti, then you wouldn't even care about wearing those kind of revealing clothes. Your energies will be completely different. You wouldn't even argue that way. Okay, so all these arguments, they come from a point of convenience, honestly, not from a point of discipline. So I'm not getting into those debates, and this channel and these tutorials are not for those kind of people, such people. Okay, so this series follows a traditional discipline, and that includes physical conduct. And if that doesn't work for you, I completely understand. This is not the right space, or maybe not the right time for you. Okay, so build that physical discipline first, and then you can always come back and start learning. All right. Okay, let's get started. So let's start with the first 5 slokas in Lalitha Sahasranamam. Before we start, we have to remember gurus of Lalitha Sahasranamam stotra, and they are none other than Vasavi Vagdevata. Okay, you don't have to recite any huge stotra or anything. When first, if you all know Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, you can recite that, and after that, I'll tell you what needs to be done. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri Vasinyadi Vagdevatabhyam Namaha. Om Shri Vasinyadi Vagdevatabhyam Namaha. Om Shri Vasinyadi Vagdevatabhyam Namaha. The other guru that we have to remember is Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti is the guru of entire Sri Vidya. He is none other than Lord Kameshwara. Om Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. And then I will also encourage to remember Jagannatha itself. Shri Matre Namah Sivaya. I usually do a samputi. Samputi means I will merge or I will add Panchakshari to all the namas and tattvas of Jagannatha. That is called samputi, sorry. And that's how I usually recite. Okay. So once you are done chanting with Guru Brahma and then remembering gurus, then you can start with the Sahasranama stotra. There is actually a Nyasa Paddhati as well, but for reciting, for learning, we don't need to do the Nyasa Paddhati, but you definitely have to remember the gurus. Okay. So now let me just give you like a summary, high-level summary on what are the most important things you have to remember when you are chanting Lalitha Sahasranamam. So Lalitha Sahasranama is the 1,000 names or multiple, innumerable names of Jagannatha, Tattva. They are all Tattvas or characters of Jagannatha. Okay, so in Lalitha Sahasranama, the beauty is every line has 16 syllables. Okay, and one sloka is 2 lines. Okay, so you have to understand where to break, where to give a pause, and then where you should not give a pause. Okay, so those are some of the important dynamics. And then there are A matra, E matra, U matra, A matra, O matra. You have to understand all these matras and where they have to be appropriately inserted. If you don't insert those matras when you are reciting, then that will change the meaning of the stotra or the nama or the tattva, and that's not good. Okay, so don't be in a rush when you are learning how to recite or how to chant. Take your time, follow this video, and then the link that I'll give you in the description to download the file, and chant like multiple times. This is not a competition, this is not a race. You don't have to prove to anything to anybody. You have to remember that you are learning and chanting this with the blessings of Jagannatha. Okay. All right, so let me start with the first one. Sri Matre Namaha. Sri. So the first Sri itself is E matra, Ma A matra, Ta A matra. So Sri Mata, and a brief pause. Sri Mata, Sri Maharajni. Again, there is a E matra towards the end on the Gni side. And then Maha, Ha is also, there is an A matra. Sri, E matra, Srimat Simhasaneswari. So here Srimat Simhasaneswari are multiple words. They are merged into one single word. Okay. And this is one thing that you really have to focus on. When multiple words are merged into one single word, I don't know what you call this in Hindi, but in Sanskrit it's called sandhi. That merging or association or union is called sandhi. When those sandhis are formed, either you will get a ha or a matra or e matra. So wherever you see that, that means it's a sandhi. Wherever you see an a and e, that's a sandhi. And you should never break that. If you break it, then the meaning will change again. Okay. So in this case, Srimat Simhasana Eswari or Ishwari. A, E will become A. Okay. In sandhi. So Srimat Simhasaneswari. Alright. Srimata, Sri Maharajni, Srimat Simhasaneswari. Slight pause. Chidat Nikunda Sambhuta. Chidat Nikunda Sambhuta. You should not say Chidat Nikunda Sambhuta. No. Chidat Nikunda Sambhu. Bhu. That is U matra. Sambhuta. Again A. A little brief pause. Deva Karya Samudyata. Are you with me? Let me just recite first two slokas. Again, remember E, A, U. Okay? These matras, extended matras or long syllables are extremely important in stotra recitation. Alright? Sri Mata, Sri Maharajni, Srimat Simhasaneswari, Chidagnikunda Sambhuta, Deva Karya Samudyata. Okay, this is the first one. Second sloka, again it also has 2 lines and each line has 16 syllables. Udyadbhanu Sahasrabha. So here, Udyadbha. Bha is actually, there is a ha there. I don't know what you call that in Hindi or English. But wherever you see like this, Udyadbhanu Sahasrabha, you have to remember to emphasize on that hakara. Or ha, I don't know if it's hakara or not, but it's ha sound. Let's say ha sound, okay? A lot of people will try to recite Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. No, you have to say bha. Bha, that ha sound is extremely important. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. Again, there is a matra on bha. Chatur Bahu Samanvita. Ta also has another a matra. Towards the end of every syllable, most of the times there will be an a matra. Alright? Raga Swarupa Pashadhya. So da has ha and ya both together and then a matra as well. So Pashadhya, and all 3 syllables have to be pronounced very clearly. Raga Swarupa Pashadhya. Krodha Karankusho Jwala. Krodha Ka Ra. So kro is one ra and one o. Dha a matra, ka a matra, ra a matra, and okay, so Krodha Karankusho Jwala. Alright, so Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, Chatur Bahu Samanvita, Raga Swarupa Pashadhya, Krodha Karankusho Jwala. Alright, now moving on to the third one. Mano, O, Manorupekshu Kodanda, Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Here, what a lot of people do when they are like reciting everything like in a go, they usually say Panchatanmatra Sayaka. No, Panchatanma. There is a akara on na and then ma. Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Okay, so you have to give a brief pause between Manorupekshu Kodanda and Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Manorupekshu Kodanda, Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Now the next line can be a little bit tricky because you have to say that entire line in one go. Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjad Brahmanda Mandala. Here there are no breaks, no pauses, nothing. You still have the A matra, Ha, Ma, Ra. You'll have all these syllables, but you have to say everything at once. You cannot break it. If you break this line, the meaning will change. Depending on where you are breaking, the meaning can be completely different. Sorry. So, Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjad, Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjad Brahmanda Mandala. Okay. Mano Rupekshu Kodanda Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjad Brahmanda Mandala. Is it clear? Now, fourth one. Champaka. 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 In that you will have Champa, Ashoka. You will get all those things. Champaka, Shoka, Champaka, Shoka, Ashoka. Here, if you say, this is actually an excellent example on how and where you should not break. If you say Champaka, Shoka, Punnaga, so there Shoka, it will become sadness. The meaning in that context will become sadness or cry or grief. If you break between Champaka and Shoka, the meaning will differ. But if you say Champaka, Shoka, then Champak, Ashoka. Champaka, Champak, Ashoka, Punnaga. They're all flowers. Do you see the difference, how the meaning can change? This is why you have to be extremely careful. Alright? Champaka, Shoka, Punnaga, Saugandhikala, Satkacha. You have to say this entire line in one go. You can't break. Even the next line you cannot break. Kuruvindamani Sreni Kanat Koti Ramandita. So here, Sre has a matra, Ni has a E matra, T has a E matra, and towards the end, Ta has a matra. So, Kuruvindamani Sreni Kanat Koti Ramandita. Okay, again, Champaka Shoka Punnaga Saugandhikala Satkacha. Kuruvindamani Sreni Kanat Koti Ramandita. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalikasthala Shobhita. You cannot break this sentence either. Okay? The entire sentence has to be said in one go. There is a E matra on Ma of Ashtami. Okay? And then Bhra of Vibhraja has a A matra. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalikasthala Shobhita. So wherever you're hearing these ha sounds, you have to ensure that you're actually inserting those ha sounds. Otherwise, it's not correct. Okay, you cannot say Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalikasthala Shobhita. A lot of people recite in multiple ways without proper emphasis on these kind of has, E matras, A matras, U matras, A matras. You know, see this is why I'm really taking a lot of time, because my goal is to ensure that whoever are watching these videos, they are at least learning to recite it the right way. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalikasthala Shobhita Mukha Chandra Kalankabham Mruganabhi Viseshaka. Okay, so these are the first 5 shlokas in Lalitha Sahasranamam. Let me recite all these 5 at once, and then you can start practicing after this. Alright. Sri Mata Sri Maharajni Srimat Simhasaneswari Chidagnikunda Sambhuta Devakaya Samudyata Ujjad Bhanu Sahasrabha Chaturbahu Samanvita Ragaswarupa Pashadhya Krodhakaram Kushojvala Manorupekshu Kodanda Panchatanmatra Sayaka Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjad Brahmanda Mandala Champaka Soka Punnaga Saugandhikala Satkacha Kuruvindamani Sreni Kanat Koti Ramandita Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalikasthala Shobhita Mukha Chandra Kalankabham Mruganabhi Viseshaka. Alright, I hope it's clear to everyone. And once you have concluded practicing and also chanting, do not conclude without Guru Vandana. Again, Om Shri Vasinyadi Vagdevatabhyam Namaha. Om Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Matre Namah Shivaya. Okay, thank you so much.